Well, good morning. The temperatures are finally dropping down some at night now. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about how you keep your chickens warm during the wintertime. Pretty common sense stuff, but that was a good time as any to cover it. Well, you know, first thing you gotta do is let the yahoos loose, and here, it's time to start the day for them, so let's cut them loose. Yeah, in the early morning layers, they still got one in the early morning girl. She's still there. Yeah, I see you, baby. Yeah, it's all right. Did you have a bad night? Was that it? Huh? I think you had a good night. We're going to get each other eggs up, and what I was going to talk about was kind of how to keep your hens warm in the wintertime. Now, I did want to explain there's quite a difference in how you're raising meat birds versus egg layers. There's a huge difference. With meat birds, you're just not too worried about long-term health issues with meat birds because you just don't have no one. You get them up big enough to cull them and you're done. So you don't really worry about, you know, temperatures and long-term feed as far as their health effects and all that. You just want to bulk them up, and that's all you're really worried about. But when it comes to egg layers, there's a different dynamic to it. So because someone treats meat birds in one fashion doesn't mean you treat the egg layers in the same fashion, because it's two totally different animals. Well, so to say, same animal, different results and different long-term effects. But we'll grab these other eggs real quick and we'll kind of get into it. What you doing there, ducks? Huh? I know what y'all waiting on. I know what you're waiting on. You know what the issue is? Normally when I come in, I get it done pretty quick, and I'm straight out with their fermented corn. They'll stand hang around right here at this doorway until I come out with that fermented corn. Spoiled ducks, man, them ducks are spoiled. Oh, we won't see how the ducks did on their laying last night. About change. Let's see. There we go. Oh, by the way, there's our water. See what they do to it overnight? Literally, that's overnight. And it's just for the simple fact they scoop them up some food in that bill, go right in the water with it to wash it down. And so a lot of that food just gets washed out in the water, which is why you gotta change the water all the time. But I'm gonna get that changed, but I only got 2 eggs from the 3 ducks this morning. Which, mind you, with the difference in the weather, I can kind of understand. Ain't no biggie. Ain't no biggie. There we go. Got 2. There's the other one. Pretty good sized eggs from them ducks, I'm telling you. That's the one thing. But I don't complain about my ducks because they're just pure entertainment. They're funny as they can be. Alright, let me get that water changed out real quick and we'll talk about this cold weather stuff with the chickens. Well, there's a reason that I actually take the corn, spread it out all over the ground. Well, a couple reasons. Number one reason is because it keeps the chickens active, keeps them moving, keeps them scratching, and that's what you want them to do, especially when the temperature starts dropping. The other reason is because right now worms, grubs, and all that, with the temperature dropping, the worms and grubs are either going deeper or just going to another area where it's warmer, where the sun may hit more. So the reason that I take that corn and spread it out on the ground instead of putting it in a bucket or in a bowl or anything else and keeping it off the ground is because I want that juice from that corn to get into the soil. When it does, that's something to attract those worms and those grubs back into this chicken run area, where then the chickens can also get twofold. Get the corn and they get the grubs and the worms out of it when they're scratching. So putting your snacks and all in a bowl. I hear you flossing, May. Good Lord, girl. Yeah. Tell me about your night. Is that it? Okay. Lord have mercy, that girl talks. She talks all the time, y'all. But you draw those worms and those grubs back into into your chicken run area. And that way the chickens can eat those and benefit from the protein and the calcium and everything else. So that's the reason I spread the corn out in the chicken run. And if you want to know about the fermented corn stuff, go back and look at the fermented corn video, or why you want to use the fermented corn. If I can figure out how to do it, I'll try to put a link up in the wolf, have people put links up there. I said if I can't figure out how to do that, put a link to that video about the fermented corn stuff. But I ain't that smart computer-wise when it comes to doing that kind of stuff. So I'll see if I can figure it out. If I did, you'll see the link. If I didn't, sorry. All right. As far as cooler weather goes, like I said, when it comes to meat chickens versus egg layers, Huge difference. You don't treat egg layers the same way you treat meat chickens. Meat chickens, you're not worried about their long-term health. They're not laying eggs, and you don't have them for that long a period of time. All you're doing is bulking them up, culling them, done. That's it. So you don't worry about all this other stuff you're trying to worry about with long-term chickens, which are egg layers. It's just different. So the obvious place to start is in the coop. So one of the things I had planned to do today, and because of the cool weather, see like where the roosting bars are at? Got them here, here, and here. What I'm gonna do is just get a longer one and run it from over here all the way straight across to over there and give a long roosting bar here. Because there's still a roosting bar that's up there, and when it's spread out like that, okay, you know, during the warmer weather in the summer, so what? But during the cooler weather, especially when it drops like, you know, below freezing, like last night I think it was down to, and I mean, I'm not saying like we live in North Dakota or something, you know, where it's freezing freaking cold. Just to these chickens, what they're used to, and that was it dropped below freezing last night. So, and let me say, chickens, they're cold weather tolerant. They are absolutely cold weather tolerant, but they function best at around 70 degrees. That's a fact. Just look it up. No, chickens weren't meant to live in the snow. No, chickens, yes, they're tolerant of it, but no, that's not where they were meant to live in. They were meant to live in a 70-degree weather, period. That's their optimum level, period. So they start to struggle when it starts getting down cold, but they really start to struggle when it drops below freezing. And I'll talk a little bit later about what I ought to look for with your chickens as far as cold weather health issues. But what I'm planning on doing is I'm gonna put this other roosting bar back here in the back and kind of keep them all back here where it's closed off. There's not drafts. I don't have to worry about drafts coming through here, and they can all huddle together as far as keeping warm. If they stay closer together, they can keep the whole group warm versus being spread out on a bunch of roosting bars and being separated. All of them together create that heat. It'll keep them all warm. So let me get this other opposite roosting bar in here, this longer one, and that should help. So apparently I wasn't made aware today's they're having a meeting of the Polar Bear Club. Could care less. Which, by the way, for this roosting bar, then I'm gonna stretch out to get them all there together. Ain't nothing but scrap wood. I just keep junk sitting over here, so when I need it, I got it. And it's just old crap wood that, you know, pulled out of something or tore something down or something, and you can always use it for something. Hey, waste not, want not. All right. One thing I'll say about roosting bars, especially for wintertime, not so much summer, which really doesn't matter, but that right there ought to be fine. But one thing I'll say is the surface area that you want is, like, some people will get those little like dowels, round dowels for roosting bars. But the thing is, what you want is you want their feet when they're sitting on the roosting bars to sit flat, and then they'll take their bellies and lay on top of their feet and keep their feet warm, because that doesn't have any feathers. And the very places you're worried about cold injuries with chickens is their legs, their feet, of course their wattle, and their comb that's on their head. Those places. So the one way they protect their legs and their feet is they'll set them out flat and then lay their bellies on it. It keeps their feet warmer from getting frostbite or cold injuries. So you want something, you don't want them like holding that where the bellies can't lay over and around to protect their feet when they're holding. You want it flat so they can lay their bellies flat onto their feet and protect them. So, just tidbit. I went ahead and shut the chickens out. See here, set them up. Got them all shut out so I can get in here and get straightened out, because I'm gonna go ahead and, while I'm in here doing, is get some of this old chicken poop out of here with the bad parts of the hay, which is just below the roosting bars like normal. And I'm gonna thicken this hay up, and I'll say why here in a second. But you can see with the cold weather how much more food they're going through. They're bulking up for the winter. We're starting to empty that stuff out. We'll talk about that too. But let me get in here and get this roosting bar set. I just wanted to get them out of the way. I don't want to be banging, that hammer really loud with them in here Mr. Daddy gonna hear nothing. Not to mention shock them to death and then won't lay eggs for 3 months. All right, let me get this roosting bar set up and that'll be that. Because there's so much information in this guide, the winter care of chickens, I'm having to split this thing up into 2 parts. My attention span's about 15 minutes at most on watching YouTube things, so I try to keep mine down to that, thereabouts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this up into 2 parts. You just saw the first part, and the second part will be shortly hereafter. It just takes a while to edit these sections, at least for me. I just ain't that savvy on this editing thing yet. So anyway, you just watched part 1, and part 2 will be out not long after. So I hope you enjoyed this part, and anyway, God bless all of you, and I hope you have a good day. If you would, please like and subscribe. That does help us. And I hope I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.